the number of carbonyl groups which are surrounded by a particular metal atom that depends upon the nature of the metal atom which is involved in a particular metal carbonyl. We have seen that the metal carbonyls are conveniently classified into two classes. One class that is known as the mononuclear carbonyls. Another class of metal carbonyls is known as a polynuclear carbonyls. What is this mononuclear carbonyls? We have seen that when only one metal atom is present, which is surrounded by definite number of carbonyl groups, under such circumstances, the carbonyls are termed as mononuclear carbonyls, where only one metal atom that is surrounded by definite number of carbonyl groups. For example, if we write NiCO4, the name of which is known as a tetracarbonyl nickel, here only one nickel metal atom is present, which is surrounded by four carbonyl groups, or FeCO5, the name of which is a pentacarbonyl iron. Here, iron atom is surrounded by five carbonyl groups. Another example may also be given, that CrCO6. This is nothing but the hexacarbonyl chromium. So, if nickel atom is there, it should be surrounded by four carbonyl groups. If iron atom is present, it should be surrounded by five carbonyl groups. If chromium is there, it is surrounded by six carbonyl groups. So just now I have told you that the number of carbonyl groups which are surrounded by a metal that depends upon the type of or the nature of the metal atom. If nickel is there, four carbonyl groups. Iron is there, five carbonyl groups. And chromium is there, six carbonyl groups are there. So in all these metal carbonyls, only one metal atom is present and hence are termed as mononuclear carbonyls. The another class of metal carbonyls which is referred as a polynuclear carbonyls. Here the word poly means many. In place of only one metal atom, if more than one metal atom that is present, which is surrounded by again definite number of carbonyl groups, under such circumstances, the carbonyls are referred as the polynuclear carbonyls. For example, Fe2CO9. Here, two iron atoms are there, which are surrounded by 9 carbonyl groups. Or another example, Mn2CO12. Here two manganese atoms are there which are surrounded by 12 carbonyl groups. So the metal atom, when more than one metal atom is present, that means more than one metal atom, that means the nuclei are more than one, hence the word poly is used. So polynuclear metal carbonyls are those where more than one metal atom that is surrounded by definite number of carbonyl groups. Now this is all about the mononuclear and polynuclear carbonyls. We have seen that the mononuclear carbonyls, they obey a rule that is known as a EAN, that is known as a effective atomic number. That means when the mononuclear carbonyls are formed, they acquire the nearest inert gas configuration or the nearest inert gas configuration which is having a particular number of electrons. In this regard, we have seen that the metal atoms, the metal carbonyls, they obey these particular effective atomic numbers. In the last time, we have seen that the example of CrCO6 where chromium contributes in all 24 electrons because chromium having atom number 24 and 6 carbonyls they will contribute in all 12 electrons. So 12 plus 24, that total tallies with the 36, and 36 is the atomic number of krypton, which is an inert gas element. We have also seen one more example where NiCO4, nickel being atomic number 28, carbonyl groups are 4. So 4 carbonyl groups, they can contribute in all 8 electrons. So 8 electrons from carbonyl plus 24 electrons from nickel, the total again becomes 36, which is a atomic number of krypton, and krypton is an inert gas element. So the number 36 is known as the effective atomic number, that is EAN. We have seen only one example which is exceptional, that is a vanadium complex VCO6, vanadium atom number 23, and 6 carbonyl will contribute 12 electrons. Here the number comes to be 35, which does not tallies with either of the inert gas elements. So this is an exceptional case. But most of the times, majority of metal mononuclear carbonyls, they obey the rule that is known as the EAN. So you should be familiar with what is the meaning of EAN, that is effective atomic number. That number tallies exactly with the nearest inert gas, for example, krypton, xenon or radon, and so on. So this is all about the introductory idea about the metal carbonyls, which are conveniently classified into mononuclear and polynuclear carbonyls. Now we shall proceed further with the structure and bonding in all these simple mononuclear carbonyls, because our study is restricted only to the structure and bonding in the mononuclear carbonyls. Hence we are going to start only the mononuclear carbonyls. Our syllabus is restricted only to the study of mononuclear carbonyls, that means the structure and bonding. So we are going to study how the bonding takes place. We are going to study in all 3 different mononuclear carbonyls. So the first carbonyl here, the first carbonyl, is NiCO4, that is known as the tetracarbonyl nickel. Now, how the structure and bonding takes place in this tetracarbonyl nickel, that we have to study. As we know, nickel having atomic number 28, its electronic configuration in terms of argon core, we can write this as 18 plus 2 is 20, plus 8 is 28, and 4p is 0. I have written here the 4p orbital because 4p is the next choice for incoming electrons. Hence I have written 4p orbitals. Now if we try to represent the box diagram representation for this, then we can show the box diagram representation for this nickel as like this. This is 3D, this is 4s, and this is 4e, 4p. You must listen how the bonding takes place in this tetracarbonyl nickel, because the bonding is rather appears to be very simple, but it is difficult to understand. Now here 3D orbital contain in all 8 electrons. So these are the 8 electrons from 3D, 4s containing 2 electrons. Now you should bear in mind that when a metal carbonyl is formed, then the oxidation state of metal is always 0. You should remember this particular fact. Whenever a metal carbonyl is formed, then the oxidation state of metal is 0. That means in this case nickel is in 0 oxidation state. So there is a no loss of electrons takes place from either 4s or 3D. Now this is a ground state electronic configuration of nickel. Now when the 4 carbonyl groups approach with 2 electrons to the orbitals of nickel, then here the structure or excited state electronic configuration becomes like this. This is again 3D, this is a 4s, and this is a 4p. As soon as the four carbonyl groups approach to the orbitals 3d and 4s orbitals of nickel, this is the excited state configuration of nickel, these two unpaired electrons which are present singly. So these four carbonyl groups forces these unpaired electrons to pair off in the same 3D level. So the excited state configuration becomes like this. This electron gets paired off here, and these two electrons now occupy in one of the empty or vacant 3D orbital, which is made vacant because of forcing of this single electron to pair off in 3D orbital, which makes vacant one 3D orbital. Now, one 4s and three 4p orbitals, they undergo sp3 hybridization. And as we know, whenever there is a sp3 hybridization, the perfect geometry should be tetrahedral geometry. So how to arrive at the tetrahedral geometry? Now, after excitation, this is a 3D, this is a 4s, and this is a 4p. These are the enon 10 electrons, 8 d electrons, and 2 4s electrons. And these are the 4 hybrid orbitals, 1 4s and 3 4p. They undergo sp3 hybridization, and these are the electrons which are donated by carbonyl groups. So 4 carbonyl groups will donate in all 8 electrons or 4 electron pairs. So this is first carbonyl, second carbonyl, third carbonyl, and fourth carbonyl. So 4 carbonyl groups will donate 8 electrons or 4 electron pairs. Now, here to show the structure for this nickel, as usual, nickel is present at the center, and here the bonding can be shown like this. As we have shown that there is a tetrahedral geometry, hence the carbonyl groups arrange themselves in such a fashion that the geometry somewhat appears to be a tetrahedral geometry. So this is a tetrahedral geometry where these 4 carbonyl groups are present. This is the first carbonyl, this is the second carbonyl, and this is the third carbonyl, and this is the fourth carbonyl. So this is NiCO4, that is tetracarbonyl nickel. Now, this is according to the valence bond theory, but according to the recent theory or according to modern concept, here it is assumed that this is 3D orbital, this is a 4s orbital, and this is a 4p orbital. This is 3D, 4s, and 4p. 3D orbital contains in all 8 electrons like this, and 4s orbital containing 2 electrons. It is assumed that this one of the electron that is unpaired and it is promoted to 4p level. So the excited state electronic configuration can also be shown. This is according to the modern concept of bonding. Again, this is a 4s orbital and this is a 4p orbital. They have undergone sp3 hybridization. In the first case, we do not found any unpaired electron. So indirectly, this is a dimagnetic in nature. But according to modern concept, here this nickel again undergoes sp3 hybridization where 2 electrons remain unpaired, and this is possible because of unpairing and promotion of one of the 4s electron to 4p level. In this concept, that nickel and carbonyl groups are having one single sigma and one pi bond. So everywhere we can find that there is a single sigma bond and a pi bond. So they are covalently bonded by a double covalent bonds. But according to this concept, that is a modern concept, again if we want to show the diagrammatic representation, then here this is a carbonyl group, first carbonyl group, this is a second carbonyl group, then this is the third carbonyl group, and this is the fourth carbonyl group. What is the difference between these two structures? The geometrical shape is almost same, that is a tetrahedral geometry we can observe, but In this case, where no unpaired electrons were present, the nickel atoms are the cobalt and nickel atoms, they are doubly bonded with one sigma and one pi bond. But according to modern concept, there exists one sigma bond and two double bonded carbon groups, amongst which one is sigma, another is pi. One is sigma and another is a pi bond. So here it is shown that this particular concept is known as the synergistic bonding. This is known as a synergistic bonding. What is a synergistic bonding? Here, as we know, that when carbonyl groups they are approaching to the orbitals of nickel, then there is a more accumulation of the negative charge with metal atom, that is a nickel, like this. This is a this is a carbonyl group which can donate their electrons to metal. So every carbonyl group, when they donate the pairs of electron to metal, then there is a more accumulation of negative charge on nickel atom, or this can be simplified as like this: nickel and this is carbonyl. So when carbonyl group gives their electrons, that is 4 electrons are donated by carbonyl groups, there is an accumulation of negative charge over the metal atom. In order to maintain the electrical neutrality of the system, metal also gives its electron to carbonyl, and this donation of electrons by metal to carbonyl groups is known as the back bonding, and this back bonding is also referred as a synergistic effect. That means here these can form the covalent bonds and these can form the coordinate bonds. That means here these two orbitals are occupied by two lone pairs of carbonyl, while these can form two sigma bonds. So here these are the two sigma bonds on account of 4px and 4s and 4px, and these are double bonds. So there exist two sigma bonds and two pi bonds, but the case is not true in case of the first structure, where it is also a tetrahedral structure. So in case of this tetracarbonyl nickel, that is NiCO4, here the type of hybridization, nickel undergoes sp3 hybridization, and the type of geometry is a tetrahedral geometry. So you should remember this particular fact. In this carbonyl, nickel undergoes sp3 hybridization and the perfect geometry is a tetrahedral geometry. Now we shall proceed further with the next, that is known as the pentacarbonyl iron. This is a FeCO5, and name of which is a pentacarbonyl iron. The word penta stands for 5 carbonyl atoms are surrounded by iron. Now, again, first of all, while arriving at the structure of this mononuclear carbonyl, first of all, we have to show the electronic configuration of iron. As we know, iron is the 26th member of periodic table. In terms of organ core, we can write the electronic configuration as like this: 4p0, 4s2, and atom number 26 means 18 plus 2 is 20 plus 6 is 26. So the box diagram representation in ground state can be shown as like this. This is 3D, 4s, and next higher energy level are available after 4s is a 4p. So 3D, 4s, and 4p. 3D containing 6 electrons, which can be shown as like this. These are the 6 electrons. 4s containing 2 electrons. Again, in the beginning of this structural study, we have seen whenever carbonyl groups are surrounded by a metal, the oxidation state of metal is 0. So there is again no loss of electrons in this structure. So this is the ground state electronic configuration of iron, and the excited state electronic configuration of iron can be shown as like this. This is a excited state electronic configuration. These are the 6 electrons of this iron. Now it is assured that when the carbonyl groups approach to the orbitals of iron, then this electron gets paired up here and this electron gets paired up here. So total number of 8 electrons they can occupy the 4 orbitals, which makes available one empty d orbital. So this one 3d orbital, one 4s orbital and 3 4p orbitals, they undergo dsp3 hybridization. It is seen that if 5 carbonyl groups are there, iron must make available 5 empty orbitals. So these are the 5 empty orbitals so as to receive the electrons which are donated by 5 carbonyl groups. So the structure can be shown as like this. Now here first carbonyl, second carbonyl, third, fourth and fifth. So 5 carbonyl groups which donate the 10 electrons or 5 electron pairs into this 3D, 1 3D, 1 4p and 3 4p orbitals. So 1 3D, 1 4s and 3 4p, they undergo dsp3 hybridization. Total number of hybridized orbitals are 5 in number, which are exactly tallies with the total number of carbonyl groups. So you should bear in mind that after 10 minutes again we have to rejoin, because it is showing that time is running up. Again you have to click the same link so as to join. Now here the total number of empty or vacant orbitals are 5 in number, which are exactly equal to the 5 carbonyl groups. Now to show the geometrical representation, iron is present at the center, which are surrounded by carbonyl groups like this. This is second carbonyl group, this is third carbonyl group and the fourth carbonyl group like this and the fifth carbonyl group like this. Now suppose if I join all these corners like this, then this is some what a triangular or trigonal, and one carbonyl that is present at the top, another at the bottom, and hence again if we join all these corners like this, then this looks like a pyramid, and hence one pyramid at the top, another pyramid at the bottom, and hence it is known as a bipyramidal geometry, which is normally referred as a TBP. So the geometry is a trigonal bipyramidal geometry in case of pentagonal or pentacarbonyl iron, that is a mononuclear carbonyl. Now this is according to the valence bond theory that we have seen that when the carbonyl groups approach to the orbitals of the iron, those electrons which are unpaired, they exert pressure because of the surrounding carbonyl groups, and these electrons they arrange themselves in the same 3D orbital, which makes available one 3D, one 4s and 3 4p orbitals. They undergo dsp3 hybridization. So this is according to valence bond theory. Now if according to modern concept, if we look at the electronic configuration, then 3d6 and 4s2 and 4p0. Now here it is seen that according to modern concept, if we try to represent the same electronic configuration like this, 3d, 4s and 4p, this is 3d, 4s and 4p, 3d containing 6 electrons which are shown like this, and these are the 4s electrons. Now it is seen that one of these electrons that is unpaired and it is promoted to 4p level. Now here one 3d orbital, one 4s orbital, and three 4p orbitals. They undergo dsp3 hybridization. First, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So, in this case, the three orbitals in this hybridization scheme, the three orbitals are singly occupied. So, they can form a single sigma covalent bond, and these two orbitals which are empty, that is 4py and 4pz, they can form a pi bond. So these two can form a pi bond. So after such type of hybridization, we can show the type of geometry that is like this. Here there is a double covalent bond between iron and carbonyl groups like this, and these are the three orbitals, namely 3d z square, 4p, 4s, and 4px. They are responsible to form the single bonds like this. So these are the single bonds which are produced between iron and carbonyl groups. So this can be shown as like this. Again, this geometry is regarded as a trigonal bipyramidal geometry. So, the trigonal bipyramidal geometry. The only point of difference between these two structures is that the first structure that do not contain any unpaired electron, even though it is having a dsp3 hybridization. Whenever there is a dsp3 hybridization, the perfect geometry is the trigonal bipyramidal geometry. But according to modern concept, if we look at the structure, because of promotion of one of these 4s electron to 4p level, here there is a possibility that there are three single sigma bonds, that is a covalent bonds, and two double bonds, out of which one is a sigma, another is a pi bond. So this structure is also supported from the various bond data. That is, the this bond is known as the axial bonds. So there are two axial bonds are there, and the single bonds are known as the equatorial bonds. So we can find that there are two types of bonding are there. How can we distinguish? Just we have to consider the bond length, that the equatorial bond length is found to be 1.82 angstrom units, and the axial bond length is 1.79 angstrom units. So from this we can say that the single bond length is greater than the double covalent bond. So the shorter bond length, that indicates that there must be a double bond, and as we know that the single bond length is more, as the bond length decreases, bond strength increases, and bond length also decreases. So decreased bond length increases the stability and the strength of bonds. So equatorial bonds are rather weaker bonds, while the axial bonds are stronger bonds because of rather short bond length. So this is how we can explain the formation of a pentacarbonyl ion, where again we have to conclude that FeCO5, this molecule, where iron atom undergoes dsp3 hybridization, where it is having a geometry that is a trigonal bipyramidal geometry. So you must remember this tabular form, that will ensure you for to attempt the MCQ type questions. So if a type that is asked, that in case of mononuclear carbonyl such as pentacarbonyl iron, iron undergoes dash type of hybridization. You must remember it is a dsp3 hybridization. Total number of carbonyl groups are 5, and 5 hybridized orbitals are produced. Or sometimes a MCQ type of question that is asked, that mononuclear carbonyl such as pentacarbonyl ion having dash type of geometry. So you must remember, whenever there is a dsp3 hybridization, the perfect geometry should be trigonal bipyramidal geometry, which I have shown in these two particular structures. So one more structure that we have to study, because here it is showing only 1 minute is left. So I am going to end this meeting. You have to join after 2 minutes by clicking the same link. So I am going to start. We shall start.